Hey everyone, today we're going to be presenting about our underrepresented group, ex-convicts. We chose this group because we believe ex-convicts deserve a second chance and reclaim back their lives after they committed crime. We believe that with the proper support, they can become valued members of society.
We created a website to help people in Texas who were previously convicted of a crime reintegrate within society. We provide statistics to bring awareness to this community, as well as provide lists of reentry programs and rehabilitation facilities that can be located by proximity.
There are over 1.2 million prisoners in the United States, and over 600,000 people are released from prisons nationally. This follows from a surge in incarcerations from 1978 to 2009, and because of this, the amount of ex-prisoners has increased disproportionately to support resources.
Looking at this diagram, we can see that Texas has an abnormally high incarceration rate of 840 people per every 100,000, which is the highest lockup rate of any state and even democratic country in the world. This totals to over 220,000 people per year. Texas also releases over 50,000 prisoners a year, with an average sentence length being 4 years.
Ex-convicts face many barriers in society. These obstacles have a profoundly negative impact on millions of American families and make it incredibly difficult for people who are returning home to be the engaged, responsible citizens we say we want them to be and turn their lives around. Men and women typically enter U.S. prisons with limited marketable work experience, low levels of educational or vocational skills, and many health-related issues, ranging from mental health needs to substance abuse histories to high rates of communicable diseases. When they leave prison, these challenges remain and are built upon. They are not allowed to vote, continue to have little access to education, face scant job opportunities, deal with health-related issues, and are ineligible for public benefits, public housing, and student loans.
This note shows a prisoner's desperate cry for help and addresses a very serious issue: inadequate mental health care in prisons. Prisoners may not be receiving the necessary mental health treatment they need, potentially leaving them worse off when they're released, thus setting them up for failure. This slide contains a snippet from an article that talks about prisoners and their mental health, and it illustrates a fundamental issue, that being the lack of necessary resources for prisoners. With a lack of resources, prisoners aren't getting the help that they need, and in turn, they aren't getting any better, and they're being set up to fail. Current prison programs might be inadequate, and in turn that potentially exacerbates the mental health challenges faced by inmates, which ultimately does more harm than good. If an inmate who needs help gets into a program and leaves worse off, then what was the point of the program?
They struggle to find jobs because of the negative connotation that comes with having a criminal record. They are not hired for certain jobs based off their past crimes, and are looked at with a lower preference for others. They often end up with very low-paying jobs if they do get one. With these low-paying jobs, they struggle to build a financial base for themselves. They are thrown into the world with barely anything. With this, the only other feasible option is to seek government or local resources. As stated before, with a criminal record, you are restricted from many different public benefits. For example, convicts with a drug felony are restricted from SNAP benefits. Also, they are ineligible for student loans if the offense was involuntary civil commitment or a sexual offense.
These obstacles are very hard to overcome and often lead to ex-convicts turning back to a life of crime. To put into perspective, 2/3 of released prisoners are rearrested within 3 years of release, and around 2/3 are back in prison after the 10th year of being released. 1.5 million children have a parent in prison, and 4 million have lost their right to vote. According to the Harvard Political Review, those who participated in education programs saw a 43% drop in reincarceration. But because of 20,000 licensing restrictions on those with a record, it makes it difficult for them to actually use their education to attain a job. Texas counties have a positive correlation between population and number of ex-prisoners, but this isn't true demographically. From prison legal news, those who are younger or male are overwhelmingly more likely to be re-imprisoned. 62% of males face re-imprisonment versus 47% for women at the end of the study.
We looked at the different classifications of crimes ex-convicts were convicted for, and it was surprising to see that it was closer than we expected. However, there were still a lot more drug and violent crimes, showing the growing need for these mental health facilities.
We noticed during our data scraping that a lot of these resources were closed, underfunded, intimidating, and looking abandoned, or had many bad reviews. So we chose this group to raise awareness to the lack of these resources so that they could be updated online, addressed for funding, and be better staffed.
And don't forget, you can support these ex-convicts by volunteering at your local charities and local food banks, and by donating to different organizations, and keeping an open mind for ex-convicts. Because at the end of the day, they're people too, and if they want to get better, then they deserve a second chance.
To conclude, we have a fun game you can check out to learn more about the decisions and challenges these ex-convicts go through when re-entering into society. It's a board game that has you go through different scenarios with an income and make life choices that ex-convicts have to go through.